Okay, this video is why are Albanians the funniest people? And I'm just going to go back a little bit of history of comedians before we get into the Albanians. And so here is Rodney Dangerfield. And Rodney Dangerfield was like my favorite comedian for a long time, still one of my all-time favorites. And he just had one funny routine after another. His books were great. Everything he did was great. Very clever and funny. And he's sort of the patron saint of married guys. You know, the whole Contessa thing was funny. And I bought and read all his books. Okay, so anyways, then the other comedian who was pretty funny back in the 1980s was Dice Clay. Yes, he was very vulgar and crude and over the top quite often, but he was very funny. Eddie Murphy had fantastic routines, you know, delirious and raw. And, you know, we memorized every single line in these comedy routines when I was a young guy. Also, Eddie Murphy did a routine where he pretended he was Bob Marley and he said, "Kill all the white people, but buy my records first." We all thought it was funny because it was a joke. But nowadays, when the European Union says that, we don't think it's so funny anymore. Okay, Chris Rock, he was great in the 1990s. He had some great stuff. The best black comedian these days, by far, is Chappelle. He's got a lot of good routines. The funniest comedian who ever lived, of course, is Sam Kinison. You know, his delivery, he just was the best. Now, this guy, I don't even remember his name. He's a current comedian, but he's funny. You know, he's got... A lot of the funniest comedians are sort of half-breeds. You know, they've lived in a couple different countries, so they can see things from a different perspective, and that's what makes stuff funny quite often, is that the comedian sees it from a different perspective, and you recognize the truth of their perspective, and it's funny. But the best nowadays are the Albanians. So here's Albania. It's right next to Greece, right next to Macedonia. Macedonia is where, you know, King Philip and Alexander the Great came from, and Aristotle. Okay, so they got that freedom of speech from the ancient Greeks. They're near the Italians. They got that personality and emotion from the Italians, that warmth. And they're near Eastern Europe, so they know all the lying and the bullshit that comes out of Eastern Europe. Okay, so here's the funniest female comedian in the world, Leonardo Joni. I think she's the funniest female comedian who ever lived. Just go to her YouTube channel and watch any of her videos, and you'll see she says what she's thinking. She's real clever, funny, and smart. Does she go over the top? Yeah, all comedians do sometimes, but she's great. She's the best female comedian who ever lived. She did an interview with Roseanne Barr. Up until Leonardo Joni, I used to think Roseanne Barr was the funniest female comedian who ever lived. She had lots of great stuff back in the day, and her TV show used to be great. So anyways, Leonardo Joni, she's the best. I mean, just watch her videos. You'll see for yourself. You'll be surprised. Okay, and then here's the funniest male comedian in the world right now is this guy, John Zerka. And yeah, he's kind of crazy, but you know what you like about him, the reason these Albanians are funny is because they recognize the truth, they're smart, they're objective, and they tell the truth. And the truth is funny because the West, the modern West, the white Christian man, he's been pussified. He's been feminized. He's scared to talk. People who are scared to talk aren't that funny. Women in general aren't that funny. So when a man's feminized, he loses his funniness. Whereas Zerka tells you he's the last masculine Christian. And he's a little crazy. He's a little over the top, but he's funny. So anyways, those are the two funniest comedians in the world right now. Hope you enjoy them.